Hello everyone, and now welcome to game number 3 in this series. It is going to be between Iron Sonic and HLA. We are all tied up in this best of 3, hence game number 3. Game number 1 was just Sonic losing every battle, every which way, not being able to make any real ground. Meanwhile, in game number 2, opening up with the Burning Archer and the Skeletal Marksman, he was able to get a very early lead on his opponent. I was surprised that HLA did not opt to go for those 2 units, and it did end up slowing him down a bit. Also, the Hippogriff choice I thought was going to perhaps be the final straw that broke the camel's back and make Sonic lose that game, as the Frost Novas were coming in plentifully from that Lich and causing a lot of damage to all of those units. However, it looks like Sonic was able to claw his way back into the things, or peck his way back into the things, taking down both heroes pretty much, and taking the series or the game to the final, taking the series to the final game. All right, let's go ahead and analyze things as things are now unfolding. Demon Hunter taking out this 3-3 creep camp. Meanwhile, down over here, Death Knight is going to be leading this ghoul army pretty quickly, already grabbing that unholy aura and now making his way off to the north. At some point in time, these ghouls will be making their way inside this base. We'll see if the Ancient of War can get back to this front door and protect all of these poor wisps that are hiding in the back of the base off over here. Ghoul already on its way. Archer is right there, spots the ghouls. Units are now running back as well. Is this going to be enough, as the Moonwell is currently being repaired? Ancient of War is doing that slow end walk as quickly as he can. The Death Knight going to make his way over and pick up, or come on, Rod and Necromancy picking up 2 of those skeletal minions already. All right, Ghoul now trying to fight back inside here. Wisp coming in. Are we going to perhaps see a little bit of damage here? Ghouls are going to be able to make their way through. Curious, as there was actually a little bit of a gap right there. Why would you actually leave a gap in between the 2 Moonwells? I thought you would purposely build it so that the ghouls could not slip past those Moonwells and get inside your base to try and take down those wisps. There is another Moonwell right there. I think this was a little bit of a building mistake. Hopefully it will not come back to haunt Sonic, as Sonic now running around with the Demon Hunter down off over here. Ghoul's gonna make short work off of this 3-3-3 creep camp. Death Knight doesn't have any experience yet, but will be able to pick up a very useful Circlet of Nobility. Gloves of Haste for a Circlet of Nobility. Oh, there is that immolation that can cause so many problems early on. And now we even see a very early ensnare. HLA losing a little bit of ground as the Demon Hunter now gets to level 2. He's going to turn off immolation. Is he going to pick up mana burn? Yes, he is. So Sonic is going to be very mana intensive between mana burn and immolation. Normally, most of the time you try and choose only one ability that does in fact use mana. The other, especially on the Demon Hunter, when he has a passive ability like Evasion, that's when you normally want to use that. All right, let's go and make our move down over here. Death Knight still sitting at level 1. Oh, there is a ghoul that is currently ensnared. Demon Hunter still trying to engage. However, activating that immolation is rather expensive, as the Death Knight is sitting at level 1. He doesn't really mind that he lost a bit of mana, but the Demon Hunter seems focused on getting damage onto that Death Knight. All right, let's make our way back over here. Is he going to pick up a Staff of Teleportation? Yes, he will, and be able to teleport all the way back to the top right in just a moment. Demon Hunter still running laps around here. There's another mana burn, and Demon Hunter only needs 50 mana to burn 50 mana. That's one of the better abilities here, as the Demon Hunter now wandering around. Is he going to be able to come inside here? Oh, Staff of Teleportation. He needs to get out of there. He realizes that, and he purposely ran into a position where the Death Knight could not attack him unless the ghouls backed off. That was actually a really smart call there, as the Demon Hunter now refreshes himself and is going to make a beeline move straight to this Ogre. Nope, not to that Ogre Warrior creep camp. There is no Ancient of War there. What exactly is Sonic doing? He is now building up an Ancient of Wonders. He's at Tree of Ages. There's the Ancient of Lore. There's number 1. I still don't see number 2. back over here. Panda now out onto the field, so the ghoul strength is going to fall off significantly. Meanwhile, we are looking at dual crypts, so the gargoyles will be coming in plenty as the Death Knight launches an illusion off over here. All right, aggroing the creeps, trying to pull them to chase after the panda. That might actually be a blessing in disguise, as Sonik does in fact have an Ancient of War right off over here. All right, come on, you got to know that that's an illusion. You can click on him, see that he has 2 charges of Wand of Illusion. No big surprise there whatsoever, as the Ancient of War still making his move and making a move down over here. All right, Death Knight taking a little bit of damage once more. Demon Hunter is gonna be there, ready to go with a mana burn or 2. As you now see, the gargoyles have arrived to the party. Demon Hunter getting in some shots there. Death Knight now looking to run away. Demon Hunter should be able to get 1 more mana burn, as soon as the Death Knight is at level 2, you want to make sure that the Death Knight cannot use those Death Coils nearly as freely. That 200 hit point heal or 100 hit point nuke, just very, very crucial and integral in part of the Death Knight strategy and the undead strategy in general. Ancient of Lore and Ancient of Wind, and a second Ancient of Wind. So we are going into dual Ancients of Wind, 3 production buildings. This is rather interesting, as the Demon Hunter now slips away. You can see that there was an ensnared gargoyle there. That gargoyle may have been taken down, as we now see a wisp getting in harm's way to try and take down a ghoul. Is it going to go ahead and get taken down? Is the Demon Hunter going to get his ghoul? Yes, he will. And now he is running back off to the north. There's the Death Coil, however, onto that wisp from that Death Knight, getting in a little bit of extra damage. All right, what happened here? Panda, did he pick up anything? No, he didn't pick up anything. I'm not quite sure what happened there. It looks like the ghouls and the gargoyles were able to finish off that creep camp without the help of the Death Knight, as the Demon Hunter now runs off to the north. Ancient of War is in position. Ancient of War now needs to back off. This could be very, very bad news. All right, Death Knight now tries to come in across here. All the units are now running back. Demon Hunter going to be using that Moonwell and now making a move back over here in just a moment. Hippogriffs are going to be added, and this is still rather dangerous, as you now see the Ogre Warrior tanking a bit of damage. All right, back off over here. Rejuvenation archers are going to be staying close to the base, making sure that the gargoyles do not get some easy shots, but it looks like that has already happened. I don't know where all of the wisps are on the map. Are they? They're all down over here, able to be protected by the archers. Meanwhile, off over here, the Death Knight now slipping back down. It looks like he picked up a Gloves of Haste that may not have necessarily been his. Yeah, he picks up the Gloves of Haste, and it looks like a bit of experience was stolen as well. The Panda lower on experience than he should be. Meanwhile, the Death Knight, at level 3, probably came in with a Death Coil steal. Hippogriffs. Rejuvenation on the Druid of the Claw. Ancient of Lore, only 1. And Hippogriffs do not fare well against gargoyles. I can't stress that enough. But however, the Hippogriffs do have a little bit more hit points than gargoyles. That may be their saving factor in this fight. Death Knight, seeing that level 3, the Lich is already out on the field, has that Orb of Corruption, and now with a Potion of Greater Mana, if that Lich stays alive that much longer, come on, the Tome. All right. Tome now being left behind. You can see down over here an illusion going to be pretty much ignored, as this archer taking far too much damage than he would have or she would have liked. Going to be heading off to the north here. Are we going to get a rejuvenation? Archer getting in some easy arrows into the back of that illusion. And we're now looking back off to the north here, as a Shade is going to be joining in on this fight as well. All right, it sounds like there should be a Boneyard here in just a moment. Sacrificial Pit already in play, keeping track of that Night Elf army. There's a Breath of Fire. No Drunken Haze, though. So all the units are now rushing over here. All right, there you go. You can see all the units are now trying to engage. Staff of Preservation quickly pulls back in the unit here. There's a Shade there, and the ghouls, what is actually happening? The Hippogriffs are now just standing around, not being able to do very much. You can see that Mana Burn now coming through. Lich is taking damage in the back. Panda now has fallen. As you can see, now the Demon Hunter sitting at level 3. Demon Hunter trying to go after the remaining units. And how many units are actually left? All right, Demon Hunter, the one-man army. Well, it helps also when your Ancients of Lore are also fighting and your actual buildings are trying to fight back here, but there should be a Frost Nova here in just a moment. Hippogriffs are fighting, and the Hippogriffs are they actually winning that fight? I am surprised. Color me surprised there. Stat-wise, it just doesn't look like that should actually be happening. All right, Demon Hunter could turn around, take down a gargoyle or two. Come on, take down a gargoyle or two. Nope, does not take down the gargoyle at all. The Hippogriffs are now trying to catch up to those gargoyles. I believe they have the same movement speed. Oh, slow poison on one. Is it going to be able to escape? And I swear this is just normal speed. The Hippogriffs are actually trying to catch up, and it looks like, is it going to peck it? No, it's not going to peck it. All right, there you go. There goes a couple, and they are able to land in time. Another one lands in time. The Hippogriffs are now going to be backing off. Meanwhile, off over here, Demon Hunter going after last gargoyle. That gargoyle going to be down to about 100 hit points after the damage over time. And if the Hippogriffs can get over there, they'll be able to finish it off. Meanwhile, ghouls are in position. The Demon Hunter is off over here. There's another rejuvenation. Absolutely no destroyers to stop that rejuvenation, and that is going to be the problem, however, as the Demon Hunter now pretty much running around in circles. There's a mana burn onto the Naga Sea Witch, or was it the Lich? I can't tell. Yeah, Naga Sea Witch, as the Demon Hunter now looking to back off here. All right, Hippogriffs now making their way off to the north. Bear is in position. Demon Hunter now ready to go back once again. Bear now back over here. Panda now sitting at level 2. Breath of Fire should be coming through. There's a Death Coil onto the Bear as the triple hero of the undead. Naga Sea Witch being added in there as well. What's going to be happening, as we should be seeing perhaps a Scroll of Town Portal? No Scroll of Town Portal. Damage over time. Is he going to burn to death? No, he is not going to burn to death. The Panda trying to catch up. Is he going to be able to catch up to that Lich? I don't believe so. And that may, in fact, be the game right there. Panda can't even blow a kiss to take down the Lich. Breath of Fire would do it. Death Knight now frantically running over, and as soon as there is Unholy Aura, oh, Demon Hunter now making its way over. Demon Hunter may be able to, in fact, take down the Lich. Lich is off to the north, is going to purposely sacrifice himself on, oh, nope, does not sacrifice himself on the creeps. The Demon Hunter, I believe, gets the kill, as the Demon Hunter now trying to run back the other way. All right, resurrecting at the tavern, very expensive, but somehow worked. Demon Hunter now needs to use a Scroll of Town Portal. Where is it? There it is, Scroll of Town Portal coming through. Panda is going to be able to stay alive just ever so barely as he runs back over here. Panda is not extinct just quite yet. Meanwhile, rejuvenation onto the unit. Moonwell is ready to go. Panda, using a Clarity Potion, should be able to fight back here as the Hippogriff is now up in the air. 38 over 50, 47 over 50. HLA is still in the lead here, but I wouldn't say by very, very much. Panda off over here as well. There's not that many ground units. Bears, it's going to be Bears and Hippos as the 1-2 punch here. Meanwhile, let's take a look. That Druid of the Claw is still standing back. Panda still sitting at level 2, not going to be able to get to level 3 anytime soon. There is a Shade nearby. That Shade, with no dust of appearance to reveal him, will constantly keep track of this army. And pretty much the undead is going to have a situational advantage of just knowing where his opponent is 9 times out of 10. Meanwhile, let's take a look down over here. I don't believe Sonik should be trying to clear up all of these lower level creep camps. You can see that there is a fairly difficult creep camp off to the north there. The Hippogriffs are keeping tally on the Death Knight and the Naga Sea Witch, as we are now pulling those units all the way back here. Perhaps the ghouls with their faster movement speed. Yeah, speed is fast even without the Unholy Aura. So Ghoul Frenzy looks like it has been upgraded, or it just feels like it's been upgraded. Meanwhile, we are now going into Obsidian Statues. So Obsidian Statues with Destroyers are definitely possible. Druids of the Talon now being added. So we may get some Cyclone or Fairy Fire. That is going to be very bad news, especially if the Obsidian Statues transform into Destroyers, adding in a bit more damage to the Bears. So right now it's going to really come down to execution. Who is going to be able to take down who in this upcoming fight? Hippogriffs off to the north here. Demon Hunter now looking to charge back over. You can see that there is plenty to do here. Hippogriff, Ogre Magi now being pulled back. Are they going to be able to engage here pretty peacefully? It looks like it, but the army is now making its way over. All right, Lich does spot this all. Meanwhile, let's see. Oh, nope. It looks like not enough damage was done. The Forest Troll High Priest able to engage, and now the Death Knight is going to be able to finish off that unit there. Mana Burn onto the Lich. Frost Nova onto the Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter sitting at level 4, pretty much out of hit points, no, out of armor. And that Orb of Corruption really taking a big chunk of armor out of the units. As you can see, a Forest Troll Berserker now will get taken down here. So far, that is a lot of ghouls. Where is the Breath of Fire that is absolutely necessary in order to fight back? Bears are now coming in from the front line. There's a Mana Burn onto the Death Knight. There's a Breath of Fire. As the bears are fighting, the Hippogriffs pretty much nowhere or just unable to be used right now. As you can see, Cyclone now picking up the units. You need to finish off that Healing Ward. That Healing Ward is taken down, and now try and take down the Healing Ward again. All right, so ghouls are getting just blown around there. Another beautiful Breath of Fire. Demon Hunter now finally making its way over. The Panda was right next to it. Not quite sure why he wasn't there to engage to try and finish things off. Staff of Preservation saving a bear, teleporting him back to home. Ghouls just getting absolutely torn apart by the Druids of the Talon anti-heavy armor attack. And now the Naga Sea Witch is trying to get away. All right, Demon Hunter is up in the front. Are we going to perhaps see a Mana Burn onto that Lich or onto the Death Knight? No, not happening. Ghouls are now trying to get up into the front here. There's a Mana Burn onto the other unit as HLA now in a desperate retreat. Sonik was able to somehow turn things around, 45 over 50 compared to 50 over 60. As the units are now going to try and engage again. All right, there's a Mana Burn. Naga Sea Witch probably would have been the better target. All right, one Gargoyle quickly taken down. And let's see, the Demon Hunter perhaps going to be able to finish off a little bit more. Yes, Mana Burn onto the Obsidian Statue. Very critical now, since that is the one unit that is trying to heal up all the units. Sonik able to Staff of Preservation another unit away. And is that bear going to be able to make it back home? I do not believe so. No, cooldown was still on that Staff of Preservation as the Demon Hunter wants to make sure that he doesn't overcommit to that fight. An expansion now happening into the top left as we are now in full retreat again. All right. Panda sitting at level 3. We are not yet at Nightfall. Bears were able to rejuvenate, and that's perhaps the biggest factor. Saving 2 bears. They're going to be back up to full hit points and also denying the experience on those bears. The Naga Sea Witch most likely would have been level 3 already. And there is also a slight discrepancy in the overall supply. 55 compared to 46. Yeah, that is 9 supply difference. 2 bears is 8 supply. So you can see how big of a factor that Staff of Preservation was in moving those bears back to that Tree of Eternity. All right. Let's take a look. Are we going to see the Demon Hunter sitting at level 5 make its way over to clear out here and actually get to level 5? Moonwell, one of them is pretty full. Druids of the Talon are still being added. And why... Oh, a Crypt Fiend getting caught between a rock and a hard place, getting caught in transit right there. A Death Coil not really doing that much damage. You got to remember, Druids of the Talon are at mastery training right now, which means they have additional hit points. A 200 hit point Death Coil is not going to really be that big of a factor. HLA, though, now with a second Obsidian statue, and I gotta believe Destroyer form has been researched. He is making necessary changes to his army in order to stay alive. Gauntlets of Ogre Strength +3 picked up by the Lich. An additional 75 hit points. Always nice to have more life on your intelligence heroes. Meanwhile, the Demon Hunter now heading back off to the north, off over here. There is that another Druid of the Claw joining in on the ranks. And oh, there's that fight. Beautiful Frost Nova Death Coil to take things down. Naga Sea Witch takes a little bit of damage there. And that Shade was the hero of that fight there. That Shade being able to, or allowing the Frost Nova and Death Coil to actually land on the right target, just because they were able to target those units. Demon Hunter now ready to go. Perhaps going to make its way over here. Let's take a look at what's going to be happening next. Demon Hunter, nope, heading back off to the north. They're just having a little bit of a powwow over here in the center portion of the map. All right, here we go. There's the engagement. There's the Mana Burn. Why would the Death Knight even do that? He has sight on this army, and he has to know what he's going up against. All right, Obsidian Statues still ready to go. I still don't know if Destroyer form is being researched or not. Both sides in a little bit of this crazy dance with no one really trying to engage just quite yet. All right. No, I'm not going to even take down that forest troll. All right. Both sides, I guess, are just really hoping to finish off the last units. No one going after these red creep camps. And I guess perhaps they suspect that they're going to get found out pretty quickly. Tome of Knowledge being picked up by Iron Sonic. And I got to believe, all right, if Sonic somehow is able to escape with 25 or even 50 hit points on his Demon Hunter, I'm going to say that Tome of Knowledge gave him an additional point of armor and 25 hit points at least. So we'll see how that goes, or does a little bit more damage as well, since it does give +1 agility. Now moving back around, no expansion down over here. You can see that there is an expansion over here to the top left. Sonic getting twice as much gold as his opponent. The expansion is going to get checked here in just a second, and that is the reason why Sonic knew, you know what, I don't really need to engage at all. All right, it looks as though he's going to be keeping track of the undead army. He somehow has a sixth sense, knowing that his opponent is at the 9 o'clock position. He's making his way over there. And Ogre Magi going to get taken down. Death Knight low on hit points. Fairy Dragon is right here. It is going to go ahead and go into fairy form. And now there is the Scroll of Town Portal getting the heck out of a very, very bad spot. Tommy Vigility being picked up by the Demon Hunter again. So +2 attack. And he's going to be able to get an additional point of armor once he gets to level 5. Meanwhile, Acolyte off to the north. Not going to find very much of anything. Tree of Eternity. Why is it walking over there? I guess it can walk over here, knowing that that expansion is just now cleared. No more gold mine for HLA. And with that, I think HLA's days are numbered. Not having the expansion, not having the foresight to go into the extremely long game. Demon Hunter sitting at 4, still not trying to clear up this expansion off to the north. All right, gold. 34 gold and counting, going up a little bit more. Destroyers are now ready to go. Acolytes, we're going to see everything from HLA in this upcoming fight. And here we go. Oh, beautiful damage coming through already. And you can see there is the attack. Frost Nova. There's a couple of webs now pulling down those hippogriffs. Bears, however, are in the front line. Demon Hunter coming in. There's the mana burn. The remaining units just going to go ahead and take down Acolyte after Acolyte after Acolyte, and that may even give the Demon Hunter level 5 a little bit prematurely. All right, Scroll of Healing trying to counteract any of the damage there. There is a Cyclone once more picking up the Lich, and Sonic using a curious collection of units that you don't normally see in an Undead versus Night Elf matchup. Hippogriffs actually working much better than I would have suspected. And even though the Panda does get taken down right there, I think he still has the better position. All right, constant absorption or devour magic from the destroyers, however, may turn things on its side here. And as we're looking at the Lich finally taken down, Hippogriffs constantly getting snagged down, and there is the GG from HLA. Sonic taking game number 3, even though he has the lower score. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this best of 3 series. Sonic using hippogriffs to take down gargoyles. Who would have thought?